evening, everybody. Good evening. Thank you for coming. Okay, this is the first time that I'm hosting this session. So, the topic is simple. Tell a story and make a point. Anybody not clear on this concept? Okay, so like what Dr. Kira has mentioned, sometimes when you try to bring your point across, it comes off as very dry. You don't know how to get it in a very clear way to the person that is listening. So what do? You tell a story. The story helps them to relate. And at the end of the day, they will remember this in their heads, rather than having a very dry, do this because yada yada. Alright, so before I introduce the topics, I'd like to tell a story of my own, and hopefully you can relate and use it as an example, inspiration for later on. So earlier this week, I read this children's book. It's called The Prince Bear and the Pauper Bear. Okay, so the Pauper Bear is a very poor little bear inside the toy store. The maker did not give him two same eyes, and he didn't stitch him a mouth. So poor thing, so all the toys call him Pauper Bear. Very sad. Then on the other hand, there is this Prince Bear. Prince Bear has a flowing cape and a wonderful crown. He's very proud of his crown. So he calls himself Prince Bear. All the toys love Prince Bear. Prince Bear always says, I can't wait to go home to a house, someone to buy me, and I can be the prince of the house. So when Christmas came along, there's a little girl came along with her parents and she said, I'm so bored with my other toys. I want this bear. I want this Prince Bear. Prince Bear so happy, brought Prince Bear home. And then Prince Bear got to sit at the head of the table at the tea parties. And Prince Bear was on top of the moon. He even said, soon I can be King Bear. Okay, so, but Pauper Bear is still in the toy store, poor thing. And the little boy came in one day with little bit of his pocket money. He asked the shopkeeper, so Mr. Shopkeeper, I don't have much savings. What can I get? But Pauper Bear wants to go home, wants a friend so badly. He reached, and he fell off the shelf. Tuck. And then the shopkeeper said, oh, what's this? He picked it up, and he also knows Pauper Bear is very sad. So he gave this poor Pauper Bear to the little boy. Little boy, so happy. He has no other toys, he only has this poor Pauper Bear. So he takes good care of him, stitch him one more eye, and give him a big smile. Happy ending, right? No, not yet. Okay, so Prince Bear, over a period of time, little girl got bored of Prince Bear. He soon found himself under the bed. Oh. Start to collect dust. And then one day, there's this puppy came and take Prince Bear. It is the little girl's new little puppy. And now Prince Bear is a puppy's toy. But what about Pauper Bear? Little boy has only one friend, and it is Pauper Bear. He goes on many adventures with Pauper Bear. Go fight the pirates, and go in space, and fight aliens and whatever. And when little boy is doing his homework, Pauper Bear is there to keep him company. One day, next year, the next Christmas, both bears met again at the same toy store. They were walking past. Prince Bear was in the mouth of the dog, inside the dog mouth. And then Pauper Bear was in the backpack of the little boy. Pauper Bear is in a very sad state. Prince Bear is in a very sad state. His crown is all damaged, and his cloak is all torn. His cape is all torn. Pauper Bear looks down his backpack and he says, oh, Prince Bear, is that you? Then Prince Bear says, I'm afraid so. The dog has made me his chew toy. It is really dreadful. Now, Prince Bear asked Pauper Bear for help. Pauper Bear, please, we're from the same toy store. Won't you help me out? Okay, so here on the pause. So which one of you here, if you were in the position of Pauper Bear, would you help Prince Bear? If you help Prince Bear, please raise your hand. No pressure, no pressure. No help is okay. Okay. So some people here will not help Chris back. Anyway, let me continue the story first. Of course, being a children's book, Papa Bear reached down, pulls Chris Bear out of the dog's mouth, and then put it in the backpack. Oh, sorry, I missed one part. At first, Papa Bear thought to himself, what if the little boy don't have enough love in his heart for 2 bears? Correct? So he had a dilemma, but eventually he put Prince Bear inside the backpack and they went home. When little boy got home, he was so excited, now he has 2 friends. And the conclusion of the story is that he did have enough love for 2 bears inside his heart. And they lived happily ever after. Okay, so what is the point I'm trying to make?
Be forgiving.
Okay. As I asked just now, not everybody raised their hand. So I think what I learned from this story is that this is just a children's book. But it seems that after we've grown up, we got a bit more rough. We're not so friendly. We're not so altruistic. We become more cynical. So what I took away from this story is that when we teach our children, we have to start with the basics. Be friendly, like he said, be forgiving, so on and so forth. So the point I'm trying to make here is that we must not forget what we have learned as children. Children have pure hearts, they are very innocent. When we grow old, we still have to keep that inside us. So that's the point I'm trying to make. Alright, so my story took a bit of time, but I'm sorry you don't have that much time. I think for each of our topics, you're getting 3 minutes, right? Yeah, you only have 3 minutes. So here are some of the topics that are available. Usually we have a few discussion points, but since we are using tell a story to make a point, I think it's easier to use simple one-word topics to push across something like kindness for my story or forgiveness, something along those lines. So take a few seconds, pick a topic that you like. It might not be on this list, maybe you have something else that is simple enough, maybe you have a story in mind. Alright, then after a few seconds, I'll pick somebody. Oh, morning office.
Hi, good evening to all of you.
Good evening.
Alright, my story is not as long as Chonglin's story. I'm pretty short and sweet because I don't have as much time as you. So we all spend a lot of time in the office, so the same applies to me. When you're retired, you don't do it, right? You run out from home. Now this incident happened just this week, recently on Tuesday. We had a job to be done. It arrived in the afternoon, and we have to get it done by a certain time. So, and my colleague was out for lunch, and I just had finished lunch. So the documents arrived, and okay, to me, I thought I would be kind. I would be kind, pick up the document. Okay, the process is part A, part B, part C. So someone has to do part A in order for part B and C to come along the way. So my colleague was not in the office, so I took the document and started working on it. And lo and behold, my other colleague walked in, opened the door, and he saw me there, and he shouted at me. I was shocked, because my intention was good. I was going to help you, so that we both can work as a team and get the job done. So what was my reaction to that colleague who shouted at me for helping him? To me, my horns wanted to come out, you know. But I'm trying to help you here, and he was screaming and shouting at me. What would anyone say? What would anyone say? Thank you for helping, so that the both of us can get the job done and go home on time. That was my focus. So my horns were slightly, but then push the horns down, and what do you think I did? What was the best thing that anyone could have done to be positive?
Stay calm.
Silence. I was just silent. And I just kept silent. And then just went about. And my focus was do the job and go on. Don't do anything and be as if carry on working as a team. So what was the positive side of me that worked that day for me was forgiveness.
Yes.
And I think it comes with practice sometimes. The small thing, it's a very small incident, but I could have reacted differently and the whole day would have been the worst for me. Yes. But I choose. Wow. So it's what you choose to do. You choose positive or you choose negative. And don't let others control your thoughts. So this is my point of the story and my takeaway for all of you.
Okay.
Agora, good evening.
Good evening.
I was in Lloyds Bank in England as a senior relationship manager before I came to Singapore, and had a great array of excellent clients to look after. But one day, Dr. Clarence had an appointment made for me by the front desk, and my colleague, Jo, she came up to me and she said, "Oh, I see you got to see Dr. Clarence. She was a lady." "Don't bother. She's rude. You'll never do business with Dr. Clarence." My perseverance, as I looked at her, she was wanting me to say, "I won't bother." But boy, I bothered. She was a doctor. She was also very butch. Gentlemen, you know what I mean. So Dr. Clarence came into my office and we had, surprisingly, a very conducive conversation. And she had a need. She wanted to gift one of her nephews quite a bit of money for further education and give that money at vesting age, at that time 25 years old. A conducive meeting, an opportunity, because I'm a salesperson, and a second meeting arranged. We never ever sold on the first meeting. In between the meetings, having booked the following week to meet this butch and posh woman with big, big boobs as well, I didn't notice, I phoned because in order to prepare some paperwork without assuming I was going to sell, I just needed some details of the nephew, i.e. the full name and the date of birth because of the vesting age ability. I phoned her at her clinic and suddenly she said, "How dare you ring me, my dear?" And she said, "By the way, I hate all this nicety, this extra service, this extra, how shall I say, politeness. I can't stand it. Who are you to phone me and ask for my nephew's birth date? Goodbye." I shuddered, and being a woman, of course, little tears dropped. And of course my bank manager came in, and all he always used to say was called David Melford, a complete womanizer. He said, "Hey, darling Radcliffe, what's wrong?" Well, I said, "This butch woman has been very, very rude to me." David just laughed, which made the situation worse. My perseverance came up. Dr. Clarence came in that second time. And the woman, the doctor, apologized for being rude on the phone. I became a little insincere when she said that. I said, "Dr. Clarence, lovely, do come into the office. I didn't even realize that you were rude." I needed to sell. I was determined to get that deal. Ladies and gentlemen, I got that deal. I went through the tears. I increased my perseverance another opportunity to close. But in life, my point is for all of us, if you're thrown back, if you are unkind with a colleague on our first speaker, it's only part and parcel of the day. Hold your head up high. Learn from a salesperson. Conquer it. Go out there. Get the deal. And find that positive spirit and be successful. Agora.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Traveling abroad is always exciting, right?
Right.
Have you taken the flight to go into another country and come back home on the same day?
Yes.
Yes.
I had this experience not long ago. My friend from Canada was traveling to Asia for vacations. And he changed his schedules quite a few times. And he finally sent me his schedules and calendar. And then realized that I was not going to meet him in Singapore. The only chance for me was that special day in Penang, Malaysia. And I had a fully packed schedules. I had meetings in the morning of that day. And I also have a few meetings the day after. What I was going to do? I thought for seconds. Then I pushed that buy button on my phone. I bought a flight ticket, the last minute flight ticket to Penang. It was great to see my friend. We visited some temples in Penang. We visited some tourist attractions. And we also went to the beach and had a late lunch in a nice restaurant. Then I took the last flight back to Singapore.
Wow.
How crazy was it to go to the airport and custom twice on the same day? But how great was it to see my friend and have a great time together? I ended up paying almost $200 for that trip. It's expensive, but friendship is priceless.
Wow.
In the always connected world, people tend to communicate through phone. They keep sending texts to each other, but something is missing, that human connection. When you make efforts to meet your friends face to face, it means a lot. It means you value that relationship. It means friends are important to you. So stop sending endless chats and schedule face-to-face meetings with your friends. Thank you.
Good evening, Agora. Now, I'd like to talk about two words, laughter and love. Recently, I have a friend, a very close friend from Japan. He gave me a text messages and said, Casey, you're my friend. And I'm in a very, very difficult situation now. I'm very stressed out. And basically, Japanese are very type personality in their work and everything else. So he's very stressed out. He said, I need someone to talk to. So he's an artist friend. I met him a few times and I visited him. He visited me in Singapore and we always laugh. We laugh a lot. So I take the chance to say, why don't we laugh together? You know. So we crack a lot of silly jokes. And he laughed and laughed. The next day he texted me and said, Casey, I do not know, you're wonderful. You know, because I'm so stressed out. And yet when I thought of you and I laugh, you know, then I continue to give him silly jokes and talk about it. I make funny faces, text him, you know, I try to have some voice messages for him. He's in Japan doing a solo show. He's so stressed out. Then I realized after a few days, it's not helping him anymore. So I said him a very, very silly jokes. And I was me and my daughter having put a funny face and give it to him and he laughed. Ha, ha, ha. And I said, Kei-san, it's Kei-san his name. I said, Kei-san, Laughter is the best medicine. But what heals? I say, love heals. And I love you, kids. And that broke him. That moment of time. And he gave me a video call. And he just cried for it. You know, but this is the moment where I say, you see, the magical moment is when you are connected to your friend with laughter. You will just give them laughter, the best medicine. You know, bring them through. But what really, really healed him is love, and love heals. Thank you.
Okay. When I was very young, I actually lived in a farm. You know, and at the age of 4 or 5, I was quite young. At that point in time, I knew, and my younger brother as well, that the conqueror in a farm, was the really the bully of all hands, on hands. So we said, we'll teach him a lesson. So I got a stick, and my brother and I were just trekking, going after the cockroaches. I saw the moment, and I whacked. The cockroach flew up and ran away, and we chased after him. We chased all the way to a pool, and there was a bamboo pole. The cockroach went all the way to the tip of the bamboo pole in the middle of the pool. And me was like, he's cornered, he's got nowhere to run. And I stepped on the bamboo pole, want to whack, and next thing I fell into the pool. I couldn't swim. Right? I only remember, actually I did open my eyes, but all green, it was all green. I couldn't swim, and luckily my uncle was around and saved me. And I was very young at that point in time. Imagine, I almost died. Was I horrified? Did I really know how much I fear swimming? It took me a long time to overcome. Eventually, at the age of maybe 18, then I dared to try to pick up swimming and be able to swim. So moral of the story is, first, I thought I was being very brave, but when you are brave without brains, it's stupid. But although I had a big fear of swimming because I was almost drowned, but eventually I overcame, and I was now, I think, not too bad a swimmer. And in life it's like this, especially speaking, and that's why we're all here. I'm sure at one point in time we had fear of speaking, and I really have a big fear in speaking, but I make a lot of efforts. So thank you all of you for coming, and I look forward to all of you coming up here to speak.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Andrea. I have the privilege of standing here to speak to every one of you and share with you my story. Well, I would like to tell you a story about this lady by the name of Smobel. Smobel. Yes. Before I start the story, I would like to ask all of you. I'm going to ask, how many of you enjoy what you're doing today? Awesome! How many of you are hesitant about this question? Thank you for being honest. I appreciate it.
The rest not honest.
It's amazing of how the crowd has responded to the question of how many of you are enjoying what you're doing. Yeah, because this was something that dawned on me when I was in my early 20s. Oops. I exposed the character of Smobel. Well, coming back to Smobel, she came from a very poor family background, just like our chairperson who has shared about his story too. And to what extent was she being poor? The dad had to feed a family of 8 with 2 odd jobs. And she had to stay in a 2-room flat, a living room and a bedroom with 2 double-decker beds. So the 4 children had the privilege of having the double-decker beds, while the parents are sleeping head to head and the grandparents lived in their living room with a plain hardened table. And that was the background of Small Belle. Life wasn't easy for Small Belle, and she bore grudges towards the father. However, in her early 20s, she began to realize that what the father had been doing, not able to support the family, not able to support the education, was actually a turning point for her to realize that life is hard, but it's a matter of how you look at life and turn it around for your own advantage. And this story that Small Belle had gone through made her into a better person, into a stronger person. And even after losing the father, she began to realize that health is important. Education is important. And with that, she carried with her this mission of bringing education and health to people around her. And that is why she's enjoying what she's doing. Thank you.
Fantastic evening to all of you.
Thank you. Thank you.
All the speakers that have come up here have their own courage. No one pushed them. Courage is the opposite of fear.
Yes.
Fear, as they say, face that enemy and run. But now if you conquer the fear, you have courage. Face the enormous problem and reap the reward at the end. It's the opposite of fear. For me, like what I was speaking earlier, I've been in grassroots. I'm a very adventurous man. I went to Thailand. That time we were only taking the train from Malaysia to Penang, and then over there and carry on to this flea market, this wet market, with less than $30. Of course, that time the money may be big. For me, I just went with my friend. Both of us, we just after our school, we don't know where the actual place. We just tag along, go into the train. With the $30, we don't have a bunk. So where do we sleep? We just sleep in the canteen, or rather the
Toilet.
it's a coffee
Lounge.
coffee lounge or whatever. We just put our head there and struggle all the way from Penang to Thailand. We don't know where's the wet market. But so, what's the next step? We have to make friends with the stranger. And this man was actually getting along with two doctors. And we just make friends. Both of us were making friends with him. If we have able to convince him that we do not know the way and say, can you bring us, or can we follow you? Of course, for that, at that time, the man with two daughters will be thinking of something else. But I don't think he has fear. I think he's more braver than me because he's bringing along two daughters. So anyway, to cut the story short, we have a very, very adventurous trip from Singapore through Malaysia, and then through Penang to Thailand, to the Grand Market, with only $30. If you're brave enough, you must have the courage. When you have the courage, you will not have any fear. So just go, just go for it.
Just now, Gideon was speaking, and suddenly I think I would like to share how when I was young, I'm eldest in the family. I have total 10 siblings. Every time when anything, the siblings fall or anything happen, my dad will actually blame us. And actually, whenever my dad asks me to do something, I will never say no. Now the children are very fortunate. They can okay. So maybe things, maybe I was brought up in this type of environment, so much so that after school, when I started to work, I actually am a very quiet person. People who don't know me in my young days will never know that I am what I am today. Later I have to thank one person who changed my life. So I love to be a nurse, but on seeing blood, I will faint. So my mother said, no, don't go to that line because more people will help you than you help people. So I turned my, suddenly I don't know why I love accounts. So from 19 years old till now, I'm still doing what I love to do. I am in the accounts department. Yes, I'm a very good corporate cleaner, mess cleaner. Yeah. So anyway, when I just started work, I dare not talk, because of the brought up in the family. So I'm very quiet. There are two kinds of rats, and that time I used the word hate when I was young. My relatives used to brand us as the smaller rat. Smaller rat, you see people, you hide. So I set a goal when I was very young that, no, one day I must be the other rat and not the small one. So I did come out of it, and I came out of it only at the age of 19 when I was in my second company. I dare not talk. I was in, the company is still around, Mr. Borsche Belting. I was in the accounts department. We have our tea break. So when I go down, I will quietly eat. Only my accounts people, I will eat with them. After eat, I'll go off. Then there's this Mr. Kang, my accounts manager. He was about to leave the company. So anyway, he told me, you have to be, he pulled me to a room, and I don't know what he talked to me. I actually used his handkerchief, and the whole handkerchief was wet. And he turned me around. Actually, a lot of people are feeding back that I'm very quiet, I need to change, and I don't know what Mr. Khan talked to me. And from that day onwards, I actually become a daredevil. So from that day, my point is that since Mr. Khan has helped me, now whenever I see people who are very quiet, I actually will go to them privately or in any way, and I managed to also help people of this caliber like me turn around. So with this, I end my story.